Hey, Mega Moms, Jessica Hensley here with Real Estate Mega Moms, and I am interviewing one of our amazing sponsors of our Abundance Conference that's happening next week. So, hey, Michelle Berman Michael,
Yeah. Hi,
my
Jessica.
partner. She has a hyphenated last name too, Rainey Mendez Para. I used to give her a hard time about it because it was, I mess up last names. It's just kind of what I do. But anyway, all right, Michelle. So you are from Instagram Powerhouse Method, right? Or is it? Do we want to say Berman Michelle Media? What's going on? Where are you from?
Yeah, so I love all of that. And I feel like you're like me. I get everything backwards when I announce anything. So thank you for that for sure. Cause you got my last name right. Nobody ever does. Usually it's like Mikkel or something random. So thank you. But no, it is the Instagram Power Method is the name of my program. It's hidden by my head back there. And then the name of my company as a whole is Berman Media Social. But really I go by either.
Love it. Well, I invited Michelle to be on our podcast today, not just because she's a sponsor, but that's amazing, but also because I've had a chance to get to know her over the last couple weeks, and actually, I'm going to be partnering with her on a few projects, and just really excited about what you do and how your brain works on the whole Instagram. We have a lot of people in our group that are trying currently to master Instagram. They're all about the reels and the carousels and all of the posting and keeping your stories live and all of those things. So you're the one that has the secret sauce, it seems like, for the Instagram Powerhouse Method. So what can we do to unlock the power of Instagram?
Yeah, I think the number one thing, and I love that people are so excited about reels and carousels and stories and just all of the logistics that make Instagram what it is, right? And I'll start by saying that Instagram as a whole is my favorite platform for a multitude of reasons, but really Instagram is your website now. And truly that's what it's become is it's this opportunity for someone to really just go down the wormhole of who you are and what you do and essentially why someone would want to spend money hiring you. But I think the biggest unlock that is really our secret sauce, as you say, is what happens between the ears, right? So being able to unlock something in between our ears that actually helps us understand what we're trying to really accomplish with this platform. Because I think, in my opinion, and Jessica, you and I have talked about this more times than I can count, is anybody can teach you how to make a template, right? Anybody can teach you how to make a video or make a reel. Anybody can teach you how to like create a logo, but can someone teach you how to really tap into the brains of your ideal client and truly produce content to serve them and then create this opportunity for prospecting at scale, which is what nobody does. I mean, I think I even asked you on the phone, do you wake up every single morning to a ton of DM messages that need returned? And every person, I mean, I think maybe in 3.5 years of doing this, I've had maybe one person say yes to that. So I think the real unlock is the mentality that goes into seeing Instagram as this viable prospecting source, and
Mm.
understanding that the amount of time we spend on lead gen, cold calling, FISBOs, buying lists, doing Facebook ads, buying leads on realtor.com or Zillow or whatever it is, if we put even a third of the amount of energy that we do into all of those grassroots things on Instagram, you wouldn't have to be spending any of that money.
Ooh, I love that. I'm gonna say challenge accepted, Michelle. You're gonna have to unlock that for my real estate
Yeah.
team. We have most of our business comes from past clients and referrals, and Facebook has been my jam. I don't know if it's because I'm old or what, but I'm just used to Facebook. I did Facebook groups and we do Facebook Marketplace and all of those things, and we do generate some leads there. But I should honestly say I'm not generating leads on Instagram. I view it as kind of a pretty place to put pictures, and yeah, I'm just not existing there. So I'm hoping you're going to unlock that for me.
Yes, absolutely. No question. And one of the things that you said, right, is that you get a lot of business off of Instagram, or I'm sorry, off of Facebook, right? And a lot of conversations happen there. And that's the biggest piece for you personally, right? Is unlocking this understanding that the effort you put on Facebook, right? You're commenting in groups, you're active in certain places, it's no different on Instagram. The only difference is that you have to be committed to that amount of time, right? Or that amount of effort, right? And the one big one that you said, right, is my clientele is past clients and referrals. Well, that's amazing, right? And that's what everybody wants. But the reality is to go find those people on social is so easy. And what will happen is it's going to make people say, oh, Jessica's connected to so-and-so. Wait, how do I not know Jessica? Or wait, if this person knows Jessica, then I should know Jessica. I should probably just use Jessica because I don't even need to go do research elsewhere. Because if so-and-so used her, I should, you know what I mean? So you get guilty by association. And the key right here, as far as engagement is concerned. So if you're listening and you're like, I'm the referral girl, like everybody just calls me and refers me, or, you know, my husband's a fire wife, or I'm sorry, my husband works for the fire department and I'm a fire wife. Well, guess what? You have the most incredible opportunity to create connection on social, specifically Instagram for this conversation, with people that live where you live. Right. What do I mean by that? I mean, people who tag themselves as fire wives, or people that tag themselves at the station because they went there for Thanksgiving because their husband was on duty, right? Or whatever it is. And you create this really hyper-focused network of people who live where you live, and not literally, but it can be literally at the same time.
That makes a lot of sense, because we always tell people to, or our agents, to lean into what they're passionate about and do what's life-giving, right? So if you're looking for leads, join groups that you enjoy. If you like to hike, go hiking and invite friends. If if you're a mom of a preschooler, join a program like what I did, which was moms of preschoolers. It's MOPS, right? So I actually built my base from the time I was pregnant until my son was in school by attending these once a week Christian moms groups, and I got to know people like that. I mean, that is really how my business got started, was just being part of groups. So
if you do the same thing, if you transfer that same energy to your engagement when you're actually doing the 45-20 that we talk about, when you do that, right, it's categorized to, okay, so if my ideal client is a mom of a preschooler, well, guess what? One of the days of the week, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go find all of the preschools locally in my area, or if you're nationwide and you're more the referral person, like on the EXP side of things, for example, right? Then guess what? Your pool is 50 states wide. Or let's say, your passion is the hiking thing, right? Which is a huge passion of a lot of people. Join the Facebook groups and then find the people that you're connecting with in the Facebook group on Instagram and essentially double tap that, right? So like being able to see both sides of that, and connect with them, and then essentially building it out in categories. So each of the 5 days of the week, you're engaging really intentionally in areas that your people are. And it's so simple, but yet people just don't process it.
I totally did it because my whole thing, or beef with Instagram, I felt like Facebook was more community based. So it was just really easy for me to get into a group or create a group, create conversations. And because Instagram is just like, I'm posting and then I hope somebody comments. I mean, that's how I felt, right? It's like I'm not able to create the community like I can on this other platform. So I just really didn't give it much attention. And I don't know if you're willing to, because I'm sure this is part of your course and your training program, but can you explain what the 45-20 is?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So 45-20 stands for 45 comments and 20 story replies. So it is a huge part of the framework of what we do. And essentially what we do for our clients, or really for anyone, and even in the course that we teach, what we do is we have you build out a tracker. So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On all 5 days of the week, you're going to have a specific category where you're going to engage. And I'm just going to use myself as an example. So because my ideal client is a real estate agent or a mortgage professional, I have categories built out based off of where I would like to spend time on Instagram as far as creating connection. So for example, without boring everybody of like all my 2-week details, one of the days, for example, all we do is we engage on real estate conferences or real estate events, or people who have podcasts that are in the real estate community, right? So we literally just do nothing but 45 comments and 20 story replies on people who are either the hosts of those events or who are the hosts of those podcasts. And it's not businessy. We're not saying, hey, by the way, you should probably interview me. We're literally just creating connection on whatever it is that they posted. So we're actually looking at their content. We're consuming what they're posting. We're listening to the video. We're not just like double tapping and scrolling past it. We are very intentional on that touch point. And some of those relationships turn instantly into an opportunity, but most of them don't, right? Most of them require 5 to 6 really consistent touch points where we're just there. We're just in their network and we're just saying, hi, hey, guess what? I have the same kind of dog as you. Or, hey, I love coffee too. Or, hey, I saw that you are in Manhattan Beach. I'm actually going to be there next week. What's your favorite coffee shop there? Right. And you're just creating connection. And then when it is time to go for the ask, or when it does feel right, or you're kind of in this intuitive space of it just makes sense now, or they posted a video where they just interviewed somebody that you know, right? Or they just invited someone to speak at their event that you spoke for that person's event, or whatever that might be. I can then confidently go in for the ask and say, hey, I know that you actually just interviewed Jessica. I would love the opportunity to speak with you about what I do. And if there's any synergy, I think it might be a great opportunity to do a podcast episode together. Right. And then all of a sudden they're like, wait, if you know Jessica and I love Jessica, then, and she interviewed you, there's that opportunity. And so that's just an example, right? That's just one day of our tracker, but we just really get hyper focused.
So for the realtor that's watching or listening to this on iTunes, what are some ways you would say to engage, and like how would they go about finding the person that they want to engage with? And let me just say real quick, I am not great at this. I don't love small talk. I'm an introvert. So it small talk annoys me, just to be really truthful. And if I see you at Abundance next week, don't let that stop you. Like, I still want to come give you a hug and talk, and I want to hear all about it. But the thing is, I want meaningful conversations. That's what I mean. I don't really care about the weather. I want to hear how you're doing. And so when I am commenting on people's Instagram, that stops me if I don't have something really genuine to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally. And great point. And we just had somebody who said this to us. She's already a client of ours, and I'm actually going to see her next week in real life. So I'm excited to have a further conversation about this small talk situation. Cause she's like, I just don't know. I just feel like I don't know what to say. And I'm like, Kim, every time I talk to you on the phone, you talk forever. Like, it's so easy for you, right? That's all it is it's just talk to them. Right. And I had never met this woman. And for the first time, we literally sat and we had breakfast, and I had to like get up and be like, Kim, I'm going to be late for my airplane if I do not leave. Right. So it was one of those things where helping someone translate who they are as a person just day to day into how they engage. And for you, Jessica, like as an example, and I'll get back to your other question, but for you, like you like the powerful, deep, meaningful conversations. You like feeling pushed forward, right? Like if this person's not adding value to my life, like why am I going to take the time to do this? And I think that's the natural nature of high achievers like us. But one of the things that I have done that I would encourage you to do is look at their content, right? Find something that's part of their content that they've already produced that you can resonate with, right? So you don't necessarily have to comment on that exact post that you found, which is how you found their page, right? You can click on their profile, look at something. Maybe they are planning this huge Easter egg hunt at their church, right? Maybe they're in charge of it, right? Well, guess what? It's about to be Easter, and we're about to have hopefully a fun Easter egg hunt for our kids, our boys. And that's cool, right? That's an easy place to be able to have a conversation. Plus, they're doing it at church, which I know means a lot to you, and it means a lot to me, right? So being able to have that deep, meaningful opportunity to talk about something that otherwise would feel very surface level, right? And you just have to phrase the engagement in the form of a question so that person is more inclined to respond.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Like, don't miss that. Don't gloss over that, ladies. If you're listening to this, when you are engaging, ask a question. That's so important.
Yes. Every time, always end your initial engagement in the form of a question. Every single time. And we have done so much testing on this, and the amount of response that you will get, like we side by side, if you just do a statement versus a comment that is maybe a full sentence plus a question. So it's like a statement plus a question at the end. If you mirror this one left versus right, the ones that are ended in the form of a question that have some form of who, what, why, or how as the start of that, the responses are 2 to 3 to 4 times as long. Like I cannot even explain to you the difference. That person is all of a sudden just like open up central.
Well, and if they're like me, if somebody asks me a question, it's like I need to close that, right? I need to close the circle. So I wanna answer. If they're sending me a statement, I'm like, "Okay, all right, good, good. I'm glad to hear that."
Cool.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not necessarily gonna respond. So, yeah, I think that I mean, that you talked about at one of our conversations that it was about the psychology of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Everything
yeah.
is everything is.
Well, I was just gonna say, so what is your opinion on the psychology of why ask a question?
So two things. The biggest one, and great question by the way, but the biggest reason for it is that people want to feel seen and heard. And the second reason, which nobody throw tomatoes at my screen if you're watching this, but we like to talk about ourselves. That's the nature of things, right? So people like to talk about themselves. And so if you are asking questions and you're putting it in their court and saying, hey, I asked you this question, Jessica. I'm obviously sitting here waiting for you to tell me all the things about you, right? You, as the person on the other end of that, you're going to be like, wow, that person actually one scrolled my Instagram and looked at something, or if they're commenting on a video that was valuable, they listened. They actually listened to my video, and then they responded about with something intuitive about the video and a question. Whoa, right? I'm way more likely to then want to take that time to move that conversation. But I think the biggest reason or the biggest holdup for a lot of people is they're like, well, what's in it for me? So if I'm going to go do this, if I'm going to go spend time doing this, what's in it for me? And a very good mutual friend of the two of ours, Grant Wise, has told me and has been my coach for 3+ years. Expectation is the root of all suffering. And when every time he says that, I'm like, damn it, Grant, you're right. But the reality is when you go into conversations like that and you assume that those are going to, every single one of those is going to turn into a lead instantly, you will be so upset and you will be so let down. So what you need to think about is in a sales funnel, what's the average touch point, right? What's the average amount of touch points it will take to turn a buyer lead into someone that's actually out shopping? Like that doesn't usually happen instantly, right? Or a potential listing, right? How many times do you have to call and follow up with them? How many times do you have to go to their house, talk to them about numbers, run comps, do all the things, and then maybe you have to keep loving on them. Maybe they're not ready to list, right? Maybe that takes 6 months because they're waiting for their kid to go off to college, but they're thinking about it. So ask yourself that question in a standard sales funnel. What's the touch point requirement for you? And realize that is the same. It flows into your engagement on social. So not every single conversation is going to instantly become a lead. It may take 5 or 6 re-engages before it even makes sense to ask about business.
Yeah, I love that. We always tell our agents to try to follow up at least 7 to 10 times, and I think
Mhm.
there's been some studies done on this, on the national level about I think it's after the 7th time, I'm pretty sure. The 7th follow-up is where, like, that conversion goes up significantly. It goes, like, from 1 or 2% to, like, a 20 or 30% conversion, so I mean, it's
Wow.
true in all senses, so it makes a lot of sense that it's true with Instagram.
Yeah, and if you go into every single conversation and you're like, okay, I'm having this conversation about their dog, like how is that going to turn into business, right? How do I get that from we're talking about our golden doodles to now we're like talking about me listing your house? Like how does that happen? And the reality is that it's very intentional re-engage, right? So your conversation starts about a golden doodle. Maybe your second conversation, you're talking about how your yard isn't big enough, or during COVID, it was so hard, or, oh my gosh, I actually really need to get a golden doodle because I'm so sick of picking up dog hair all over my house. Right. And then it turns into this slow evolution where intuitively you get to a place where you're like, okay, if I ask this person and I say something like, hey, Jessica, I know you and I have been chatting a bunch. I saw on your Instagram that you love coffee. So do I. And my favorite little coffee shop is hosting this event, or next Wednesday is buy one, get one. I would love to invite you to come have coffee with me just so we can chat, or just so we can get to know each other. Right. And it's like this
Yeah.
super easy ask that doesn't feel salesy. And the thing is that that person is going to say yes, and they know what you do, right? They've looked at your profile. They know that you're a real estate agent. They're not shocked by that. And if they feel like you might be asking them for business, any normal person would be like, yeah, I'll come have coffee with you, but just so you know, I'm really not interested in selling my house, right? They'll just come out and be
Right.
blunt about it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it's not an amazing relationship or a start to something, right? And we have a client who did that exact thing that I just mentioned. Took a woman out to coffee, and it was just somebody that she had been having a lot of conversations with off and on Instagram for like well over a month. Come to find out, the woman is married to a gentleman who owns a chiropractic office that was actually looking for a new realtor to be, quote, like referring out to, because their realtor that they had used themselves, and that they were consistently referring, was moving out of the state, right? So it became
Wow.
this opportunity. Like, had Jill not taken the time to just be like, yeah, you know what, this could be nothing, but what's $5 for me to buy somebody a cup of coffee, right? It could turn into something, and it did.
Yeah.
And not
Oh,
to say
that's so
every one
good.
of them will, but you just don't know.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, if you just enter it with the no expectation, and just create a relationship and a connection. Um, the other thing is, and Grant says this too, I've been seeing it different places, but more connections equals more sales or
Conversion.
conversion. Is that
Yeah.
conversion? Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the point, right? So I would ask, if you're having an issue, ladies, if you're having an issue with the end result, which is the sale, look back and ask yourself, how many connections am I truly having every single week? And if you're having a
Mhm.
problem making connections, why is that? Are you not out there, doing things like this, engaging or talking to your past clients or in the public, in a group? I mean, you have to have conversations in this business to make it. I mean, let's just, as much as I despise um, little small talk, it's a necessary evil, right? I mean, I know that, and the thing is, I am okay with it. I am kind of making a big deal about it because I know there's other people like me out there that are like, I just can't do it. Don't let that stop you. Go ahead and have the conversation, and you will form the deeper connection because you're coming at it from a pure motivation, right? I'm not doing it just to get business. I do want to get to know people. And the thing is, it's not about them making a good impact on my life. I truly want to make a good an impact on their life as well. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it all comes down to why Instagram, if we can, right?
Yeah.
If we can say it this way,
Yeah.
which is, okay, so having all these relationships is great, but like, where does Instagram fit into all of that? And that's what I will tell people is, it's no different than going to the gym, right? It's no different than going to the coffee shop and putting your computer up and sitting in the back of the room or in the back of the coffee shop with your AirPods in and drinking a cup of coffee, right? Like, you're actually more likely to open up to someone. Like, think about why, like, I don't know if anybody's ever seen this on the wives side. I know I don't watch a lot of TV, but usually when I do, it's trash TV. Sounds terrible, but um Love is Blind, right? Is this very stupid Netflix show that a lot of us wives have probably watched, because everybody loves love. But the point of the entire show, right, is that it's these two people making this very genuine, very authentic connection without ever even seeing one another in real life. So they're building a relationship based off of just communication, conversation, right? What that magical thing that is required in order for two people to coexist for the rest of their lives together. And it's no different than what we're doing on social, or that what we have to do in order to land a lead, right? So if we go to the gym, in order to convert someone, we still have to be willing to talk to them, right? But if you take the physical body language side of it out, and you take the stress of we're standing in the same place together. Like, what do we say? We feel awkward energy from our bodies, but like intuitive or intellectually, we're on the same page, right? That's what social does. And I just did a presentation or created a PowerPoint for something else yesterday. And so this is super relevant. But if you have a list of 100 names, for example, let's just say, you're cold calling 100 people, right? What would that conversation look like, or how different would those conversations or phone calls be if prior to starting the phone call, you had 2 or 3 bullet points next to each person's name about the person, right? Let's say before you pick up the phone and call me, you know that I love working out. I'm training for a half marathon, hopefully before the end of the year, and before I'm pregnant, hopefully for round 2. And then you also know that I love all things Army and military. Like, I'm a military wife. I live in a military town. I'm getting ready to move to another military town, right? So, and just imagine, right? If every single call you ever had to make never felt like an actual cold call again, that's what Instagram can do for you. And that's what creating conversations in your DMs with people and doing the 45-20 to tie this all together, right? That's what that does, is it allows you to have a cold interaction with someone with bullet points next to every person's name, so that when you do get on the phone with that person eventually, right? Or eventually you go have coffee with them, it is the easiest sale, if you will. And if you're listening to this, I'm doing air quotes with my fingers, right? But it's the easiest sale ever, because it's just this very genuine, authentic relationship. And the reality is 45-20 every day. If you do that for an entire week, you're going to be talking to way more people than you ever would if you're cold calling every single day, right? But it's a sales funnel. Jessica, you're not a stranger to the concept of the sales funnel, right? Like, if you have 100 conversations, you may talk to 20 of them. Of the 20 you talk to, 5 of them might be interested. And of the 5, you may convert 2. But is a $10,000 commission worth those 100 phone calls? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I love that. So we could probably talk about this for another 2 or 3 hours. And you have some really good tips, I think, that I want our moms to know about. So what we've done, Michelle and I, we're going to be having a webinar next month. But also in the meantime, you can schedule a call with Michelle if you want to get kind of a health check on your Instagram and see if you want to work with her directly. You're also going to be a guest expert in our inner circle. So those that are watching that are in the inner circle, be looking forward to that. She'll be on March 14th. So we're going to be like all things Michelle, all things Instagram for the month of March. And I'm so here for it. Any last words of advice, Michelle?
No, I would just say, like, and we're so guilty of this as women, I think, in general. And I know it was fun for you and I to talk about this on my podcast, which so many people loved hearing your take on real estate and momhood and all the things. But I think the reality as women is we just naturally overthink everything. I mean, we probably are sitting here overthinking, do our husbands love us as much as they say that? Like, of course they do, guys. Like, so it's like these, and I'm only saying that because my anniversary is on Tuesday. So I've been thinking, I'm like, is my husband going to do anything? Is he not? Because for Valentine's Day, we made this agreement that we weren't buying each other gifts because we're building our dream home right now. And he took that super literally and at face value and did not even get flowers or anything. So I was like, babe, I love you.
It's a trap. It's always a trap. Whatever we say, no gift.
Yeah. I was like, I know we talked about no gifts, but no flowers or anything? Like, I would have been okay with that.
And like a handwritten note or a back rub or something.
Something,
Get
something.
creative, babe.
But the point of it is my last thing that I just really, and we'll talk. I'm so excited for all of you mega moms. Like, I just am so grateful for the opportunity to meet Jessica. It was such a God moment for the two of us where we are both at in our lives. So very grateful for that and the opportunity to get to meet all of you ladies at some point. But really, we just have to stop overthinking everything. We have to stop overthinking small talk and assuming that somebody on the other side thinks it's awkward because they're not thinking that, right? We have to stop assuming that it's hard or it's too time consuming or it's not going to work And if we stop and we take all these limiting beliefs out of it and we just say, you know what I've been doing hasn't been working. So obviously I need to do something different. And we take the initiative to say, I need to try to do something different. And it doesn't have to be what I'm saying. Like there are lots of people out there that are really good at Instagram. So find your person that you connect with that helps you create that change that you need, and just start, right? It doesn't have to be a lot, but I've had people that are like 45-20 is never going to happen, Michelle, but I'll do 10 and 10. And I'm like, great, do 10 and 10, you know? And then it just becomes this really, really special opportunity for you guys to see change in yourself, truly.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, if you're doing it consistently and you're reaching out and commenting and engaging with people consistently, you will have a percentage of people that won't respond or won't do anything, but the ones that you're meant to work with and the ones that will appreciate it, they will, right? But they would have never met you. They would have never engaged with you if you wouldn't have started it. And I feel like most of us, most humans in general, long for connection. We long for friends. That's one of the number one things I hear in our mom group is, I don't have any friends. Have you heard that? Have you been around that too?
Oh my gosh, I felt that.
Yeah.
I have felt that as a mom and as a business owner. And truly, I think a lot of us, when we make decisions to run a business, and I'm sorry, every real estate agent, you own your own business. Come on, right? Like that's literally what you're doing. You are your own success or your own failure based off what you do, right? And what you choose to do. But it gets very lonely when you're in this place of, I'm running a company, I'm trying to be a mom, I'm trying to be a wife. And then honestly, for me, I'm about to be 33, but like I've just stopped spending time with a lot of people that are not able to meet me where I'm at intuitively and intellectually. And if we can't have a conversation about something, or if someone's like, yeah, you know what, I just really prefer just being at home all day. Like I just really love staying at home and sitting and watching TV. And when my son's asleep, like I just sit outside and I read. And I'm like, what? Like I'm out here grinding, like trying to get stuff done when my kid's asleep. Right. Right now, my kid is asleep upstairs and I have a ton of work that I'm going to get done in 2.5 hours while he's taking a nap. So find your people, you know, I think that's so important. Is if you don't have a lot of friends, find the friends that are where you are or are where you want to go. Right. And find somebody that is working their butt off, but is a kick-ass mom and is doing all the things, because there's something that you can learn from them. Yeah. And they're going to be able to meet you where you're at.
And if you approach your Instagram engagement or just engagement in general as, I'm looking for my people and not I'm looking for my clients, you're going to get clients. Yep. It's just going to be a byproduct 1,000%. Of an awesome relationship. Yeah.
1,000%. The way you just said that was so good. Like so spot on. If you just look at it as find your people, you will find clients. Like I got to steal that and make it into a meme or something, but that's so good.
Quote from Jessica Hensley, right? Yeah. All right, moms. Thank you for listening today. And if you're watching us live, don't forget you can watch this or listen to this on our podcast or on our YouTube channel, and everything is titled Real Estate Mega Moms. We're super easy to find everywhere. Michelle, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, the easiest way is definitely to either get me on Instagram, which I'm going to drop my Instagram handle in the comments if I can. Oh, it doesn't look like back. I can.
Well,
yeah, I'll go back on Facebook.
Berman Media Social.
Yep. Oh yeah, just kidding. It's on my screen. So yes, that's my Instagram handle, Berman Media Social. And then for those of you guys who are interested in what the Instagram Power Method can do, the easiest way is just to schedule a call with me. I love getting to chat with everyone and deciding whether or not that's a good fit for them. But I also think, the webinar we have coming up, we have a couple of things for both you and I together and us individually, right? So there's so many things you guys can get dialed into. And Jessica and I are going to be doing a lot together over the rest of life. So if not now, you'll know where to find us.
Yep. Yes. All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Jessica.